The doctor's here.
I'm surprised they asked me to come up here.
Everybody knows. No, but I'm not a rep. You're not a rep, but you gave the invocation at the house twice. In 160 days.
I'll tell you, when I saw you now, I thought
If they need one, I'll step up and make it happen.
They were all fair. 10-minute drive, 10-minute drive.
They gonna read them.
In that room, yes, we
Probably should. It's a rep here.
This whole room. We're going to have eggs.
Normally they have
Oh, the speaking teachers. Yeah, we need them.
he said we need teachers. That's how you get women up here. Get a couple teachers.
They're bringing
Yeah.
I'm thinking I was going to be up here. If someone's got one I can get for sure.
Oh, wow.
In the picture? I'm gonna need it, yeah.
This is for, we're lining up, he's gonna.
Oh, so I'm not gonna be up here.
He said no. Y'all keep migrating that way. You can be over here.
Well, he vacated the spot.
Oh, you did right here, buddy. Right next to me. Your fountain of youth. Come on over and get me some of that. What you got going on? Hey, 46.
I said 42.
46. What a young buck. I love it.
All of us, we love you. That's all that
I
matters.
know.
Oh, thank you. No, come on.
Just a heads up for you guys up there, we are streaming this live.
Yes. So say great things.
Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate
We
that.
love
Thanks for the
public
heads up.
education. Yes, thank you.
The mics are hot.
No hot mic
They were last.
moments. I know.
Okay, Texas, no
We
need
said
to
nothing
warn
but
them.
great things. But I'm going to tell you, when I looked at my phone an hour later, it was
This is nice.
When he comes in, you're going to the mic, or he comes hot to the mic. He said that on your side was what the gentleman over there said to do. He asked some questions.
Oh, you're just
Up here, that's it. I'm sorry, I didn't know I was going to be up here. No, that's okay. I had no plan on this. This is fantastic. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No. This is a great thing. Y'all need to be up here. I'll take the tent back there.
Are you going to mention the ship's code too?
I might.
what is kids code?
That's an appropriation. We got approved.
Oh,
Mr. Governor, while you're here,
okay.
AI
Need to make sure he signs it.
these things out. They said short and sweet. So now it's going to go short and sweet.
you've got the
Yes, they are.
In case they said no.
She just got a new staff.
We tried to.
I'm working it. I'm also trying to.
Salisbury. We're doing something. Give it teacher bonus. That's why I think so.
For a year.
I'm really, that's, yeah. Makes me happy. I know it's first oh my gosh. It seems to be, I mean, you get great training, they drive a little bit, and they go to the company. Right? Isn't that how it goes? So I need to text Tim and tell him that he should do the same thing. I'm sorry, my assistant does it. Which is my okay. No, they get to leave. Retired? Okay. So your foundation is running yeah, so it's ours. So it's like ours and you're attached to it. Yep, I am. And sure take stuff and umbrella into that. I got a $500,000 this year.
I'm working on my master's right now, so I'm going to see a lot of young people.
You've been on your take stock here. Take stock in children advisory board for some time.
No, they're both
It's great.
well, that's just no, I mean, they could experience that your master's
You just gotta stay there. Yeah, we had some issues.
that's not true. No, I think we
We had some problems. But once we got this, lock it up, we got it. So, but it's important that you the idea is nonprofits It's so easy. I've never been in office for anything and everything. I think it's just crazy guys. And they're like, I don't care. And they're like, okay, we don't need your show. So
I've tried one before. Thanks.
So you could.
that's how I got it. Very important. This is so adorable. I know.
Good to see you again.
Hi. Hi.
How are you?
My district.
I know. The other one, who was it? Kind of right on the
How are you?
All right. Go ahead.
Good afternoon and welcome to Destin Elementary. I'm Joe Genazo, the principal here at Destin Elementary in Okaloosa County, Florida. I'd like to start by thanking Governor DeSantis, Commissioner Corcoran, Superintendent Chambers, our school board members, and all local dignitaries that we have with us here today, and especially the amazing students and staff here at Destin Elementary. We are glad you are here, so thank you. Governor DeSantis, your support this year has made a difference for Okaloosa County schools and all students in the state of Florida. And we live in a world of data in education, and as we evaluated data at the beginning of this school year, we noticed that there was a regression and a large gap. And our decision-making processes at the school are always geared toward one thing, and that is what is in the best interest of the student. And going face-to-face was that solution. We had the resources provided by the state and the governor, and without those resources, we would not be here today, and we would not have been able to reach those students the way that we could have online. So, without further ado, welcome Governor DeSantis to Destin, Florida.
Thank you. Well, I want to thank the principal. Thanks for having us. I also want to thank Marcus Chambers, the superintendent, for working hard. We have Richard Corcoran, our Commissioner of Education, who you hear from. We have Representatives Maney and Andrade and Saltzman. You weren't on my list, but you're here. So thank you for coming over. And we also have 3 teachers, Lisa Brown, Amber Wall, and Diane Kelly. So they're going to be able to talk and say a few things. You know, when the history is written from this most recent chapter for the United States, I think people are going to look back and say probably the most important thing that we did here, and one of the worst things that many other places didn't do, was get the kids in school. Because I think the places that lock the kids out of school, and we have many places in these enclaves throughout the country that still the parents don't have access to in-person education. So we looked at over the summer, we understood that there had been places that had kids in school, that it was something that was safe and it needed to happen, but also we understood the urgency of getting the students back, not just for academic and making sure that they don't have the regression there, but also being able to be with their friends and being able to be normal kids. I looked at that playground out there. I have a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. They would all be on all of that if I unleashed them into there. But just those things that are just so important. And then obviously being there face-to-face with their teachers and the mentors and the coaches and all the people that make such an impact on students. And so we went forward, and now people look back and they act like, oh yeah, obviously we needed to get the schools open. The people that still support closed schools are kind of on the defensive, but at the time we were doing it, and we had a lot of support back here in Okaloosa and other counties up here, but the overall national narrative, corporate media was trying to say schools should be closed. And so when we went forward with it, we got a lot of blowback for it. There was a lot of people fear-mongering, trying to scare parents, trying to scare students, and we were not going to be deterred by that because we understood what the facts were telling us, what the data and the evidence was telling us. So we had a plan, and it was basically we wanted to give these districts flexibility. We didn't want them to lose funding, but they had to be open for in-person instruction 5 days a week. We gave parents the option to stay remote if that's what they wanted to do. But I think places like here, you got to be 90+%. 90+% are in person, and that's really been the story in almost every part of Florida. So it's been a big success. And these teachers and principals that worked, almost every superintendent was with us on this. They wanted to get back. Almost all the teachers really wanted back. I mean, some of them sued us, but most of them wanted to get back. And we understood, because they understood. It's like, okay, this is what you've dedicated your life to. You want to have the kids there, especially in times like this. So So we did. We went forward, and I think it's been a big success. I think here, Okaloosa has done a fantastic job. And so we looked at it and said, you know, we're so glad and proud that we've had open schools in Florida. We look at these other places that still haven't welcomed all the kids back. I kind of shake my head, but then I also get upset because think of all the lives that have been affected negatively because of politics, cowardice, flat earth science, you name it. It's been a total disaster in certain parts of our country. And so I think people are going to rue the day that they didn't get the kids back in school. I think you're going to see long-term damage. But these teachers and principals, we have some who've been in for decades. We have other younger teachers that are more early in their career. But I think regardless of that, you may never have an opportunity to make more of a difference than you did this year, because if we didn't have the kids in school, the consequences of that would have been dire. And so you've made a real difference. And because of that, when the legislature met this past session, I said, we need to show some appreciation for that. So I propose that every principal and school teacher, public, both school district and charter, that everyone got a $1,000 bonus. And so that was our plan. That was what we asked the legislature to do. And I'm going through the budget now. We've got a lot of things to sort through, but I can tell you the legislature answered my call. They delivered. And so when I do sign the budget very soon, that budget will include $1,000 bonuses for every principal and teacher, public school in the state of Florida. And that's a really cool thing. But that's not all. Last year, and it kind of got lost in the shuffle with COVID hitting, because our legislative session ended right in mid-March as things started to really change around the world. But we made last year a focus on teacher compensation. So we did probably the largest package, certainly in recent times. And our goal was primarily to increase the average minimum salary across the state. We also, for places that had adequate minimum salary, we did provide money for teachers who were above that. So that was $500 million for that. We got it again this year, and then we actually got an increase in that. And so we're going to continue to improve with the teacher compensation, particularly, trying to get the talented college graduates to want to go into teaching. I mean, it's been a little bit more difficult, I think, in recent years, and so we think that this is important. And Richard has a good statistic. We have 60 of our 67 school districts have average minimum over 40,000. And nationwide, only 12% of school districts have average minimum above 40,000. And so, our goal is 47.5 across the state on average. Some areas are much less cost of living, some are more. So it kind of works out. It's not all necessarily the same, but that's the general idea. So we're proud of that. We're proud to be able to have made a difference there. So when we sign the budget, we'll sign in that increase of teacher compensation, and that's in addition to these bonuses. And we're really proud of that. And we also did bonuses, $1,000 for every sworn law enforcement, fire, and first responder in the state of Florida. So we're really proud of that. So we're going to let Richard Corcoran come up, say a few things. We'll hear from Marcus Chambers, and we'll hear from a few of our great teachers.
Thank you. I just want to echo a little bit of what the governor said. When we were back in the summer, we had all the facts and the data, and he poured through all of it, called international leaders, and we knew it was the right thing to do for the kids. And I was joking them. Part of it for me was selfish. I have 6 kids all in public school. I just needed them to get back into school. But it was I'll take a second just to say, there's you see the juxtaposition of different leaders, and leadership's everything. And you have a leader in New York who is writing and taking a $5 million advance on a book, talking about how great he did. They still didn't have schools open, on and off. Even now today, there may be countless deaths that were unnecessary in nursing homes. And you look at Florida stats, and you look what we did under his leadership, it's really remarkable. And I'll echo what he said. When you see what's going on in these other 49 states, and you see what they're doing with these children, And at first you're like, this is sad, you know, and then you're like, this is tragic, and now you're like, it's a criminal. I mean, what they're doing to these kids, those ramifications will be felt for not a year, maybe a lifetime. And it's just inexcusable when you see the great success. Marcus Chambers, we were in Baker County, you're talking 90, 95, 85% of kids in face-to-face instruction all year long in the state of Florida. And what we learned, especially me and my wife, teachers are the backbone of society. They really are. I mean, when we got schools cranking and schools open and kids were back, and with our principals and our teachers, things immediately went back to normal. People could go back to work. The economy could start humming. And so knowing that, giving these bonuses to these teachers and these principals, it's just fantastic. It's well-deserved, and society has learned, you know, the one thing, you know, he was talking about the playground. I remember there was a time we'd go up to our neighborhood playground and they wouldn't even, it was all like roped off and padlocked, and you couldn't even go into the playground, all this crazy stuff. You go into Publix, you got to go one way, and you're yanking your kids, telling them, no, don't go down. I mean, it's just a crazy world, but then they could be dropped off. While that was going on, they could go and physically be with their teachers in a classroom where it was normal and it was right and everything was good. And so for these bonuses, it's a fantastic thing. But I'd be remiss if I didn't close with saying, as a father of 6 children, I know all of you guys, I can tell by the warm reception, we're blessed to have Governor DeSantis as our governor. And so thank you for all you've done, Governor.
Sure. Okay, we'll hear from some teachers. Lisa Brown.
Thank you. Wow, what an honor. My name's Lisa Brown. Thank you for having me today. With all the uncertainty that beginning this school year brought, here we are 170 days in and thriving. I would like to extend my gratitude to Governor DeSantis for making it possible for our students and our teachers to return to our classrooms for the 2021 school year. As a primary reading teacher, I feel fortunate to have been able to meet with each of my students, to listen to them read aloud, to introduce them to my favorite literature, and above all, share with them my excitement for learning. This year more than ever, our students have benefited from this type of classroom instruction. My partner teacher and I have had the opportunity to view this firsthand. She and I teach both first and second grade. Our first graders loop up to second grade each year, where we get to see the growth they experience over a span of 2 years. Each year, our new second graders come back after summer vacation with what we in education like to call the summer slide. However, this year there was a larger gap and a noticeable difference in regression, with our students having been out of the classroom from March to September. As this year draws to an end, I can confidently, proudly, and without a doubt say that my second graders are prepared for third grade and whatever it brings. I don't believe that outcome would be the same if I had not had the opportunity to see my students face to face to bridge that gap. The staff here at Destin Elementary has worked diligently to make our year successful. While the year has looked quite a bit different from others, I'm grateful for the leadership beginning with Governor DeSantis, to our amazing superintendent, Mr. Chambers, our fabulous principal, Mr. Genazo, our wonderful assistant principal, Ms. Meyer. Their guidance has afforded us the opportunity to safely resume instruction, not only meeting the educational needs of our students, but also supporting them emotionally in these unusual circumstances. Thank you very much.
Okay, Amber Wall.
Hello, I'm Amber Wall, and I am so honored to be speaking in front of such esteemed members of our community. Thank you for having me here today. I want to start by thanking you, Governor DeSantis. We owe you a debt of gratitude for taking the heat this school year and standing up for our students, teachers, and families. Giving us the option to choose what was right to complete this school year, whether that was attending school face-to-face, blended, or online only. This allowed Florida to lead the way and set the standards in getting our country back to school and back to work. As a single parent, I'm thankful I had the option of keeping my daughter in school so that she could complete her VPK program, be fully prepared for kindergarten, and so I could continue working. I'm a third grade teacher here at Destin, and I also coach a portion of our STEM teams, which include 2 Florida Lego League Junior teams and our Little Bits Kids Code groups. These after-school programs were able to reach over 100 students who successfully learned computer science and fell in love with the future of technology. I heard over and over from these kids how excited they were to continue these programs in middle, high school, and college, how they had no idea how cool and challenging it was to build robots, fly drones, and how they didn't want their groups to end. This would not have been possible without the ability to meet here in the brick and mortar setting. From my experiences, I understand even more how important the in-classroom teacher-student relationship is. I think my colleagues would agree that without that, we could not even come close to what we needed for student engagement, rigor, and growth. Thank you for keeping our students' well-being at the center of your decision-making. We are blessed to work in this school, in this district, and in Florida, where the students are first.
Okay, Diane Kelly.
So I could speak a long time about how this year has gone, like we all could every year. We could go on and on. And you know how, like, the president, when he does the State of the Union, there are those people up there, the examples. And so it'd be really cool if I could march my students through here and just say, this one stopped being afraid of numbers, and this one learned how to be a better friend, and this one here went from below grade level to on grade level. So being here is what allowed us to make those growths. And but that's why fourth quarter last year was so unnatural, because we weren't able to be with them, and it was so frustrating and disappointing that we were just cursorily covering skills and just trying to keep them academically engaged, but not really making inroads and keeping them growing where they would need to be the next year. So, and then the summer was spent trying to understand the disease, and Mr. Genezo was so patient with me, because I was trying to decide, well, should I go back to the classroom or teach at home, and so I appreciated that patience that he afforded me, and I finally decided, no, I'm going to go back. I can't imagine not being with them and being able to make a difference just being in my kitchen. So, and then over the summer too, Mr. Chambers and his leadership team, they were helping implement policies that would be allaying the fears of parents and also of teachers. And at pre-planning, we received information and data and clear-cut guidelines on what to expect and what to do for each situation that might arise. But we were reminded always to extend grace and compassion. And so that was kind of a cool motto, because I think it really helped with the relationships, keeping the relationships strong in the community. And now we see that it all worked out, Governor DeSantis. Thanks to your team, and then to Superintendent Chambers and his team. And but I'm also thankful for the leadership here at this school. Mr. Genezo and Mrs. Meyer have the perfect temperaments for handling a year like this. They are approachable, and they are willing to listen, and they are always interested in keeping it light this whole year, just keeping it light, and the grace and compassion was important. So all the teachers and staff here, though, rose to the occasion too. And I can't say enough about everyone who's flexible, professional, and Governor DeSantis, you would be really blessed if you were able to spend more time talking to more of us today. So one more thing, I've family in other states, and I can't imagine these children here not being in the classroom and spending, the other students around the country spending the whole year or most of it at home. our students learned, they grew, and they had fun with their friends. So thank you, Governor DeSantis, and for your calm leadership this year, and also it trickled down to Superintendent Chambers and his leadership team, and then finally our school leadership team. And so I just am thankful that I could spend my last year teaching here in the school with my students in my classroom. Thank you.
Governor DeSantis, on behalf of Okaloosa County, we have 5 of our school board members who are here as well.
Oh,
we just
good.
want to thank you for your leadership and the fact of taking at the beginning building, but absolutely the right thing to do. Commissioner Corcoran, just thank you so much for your support and your guidance. We've been able to call upon you at any time. And here in Okaloosa County, when you look to your right and you look to your left and you see the students that are in this room right now, this is what this is all about, and your leadership has been about that. In Okaloosa County, we talk about the unsung heroes, and those are our teachers, our staff, our principals. What you all do and what you've done this year is nothing less than miraculous, and we are so proud. And again, Governor, thank you so much for your leadership.
Great. Thanks. Take a picture with the check. Come on. Okay, here, once you get over here. You guys, come on, get right here. All right. Do some photos. There we go. Come into your mailbox soon. Hopefully, as soon as we can get it. Got to sign the budget first, and then there's a lot of bureaucracy that goes involved in this. Believe me. All right, great. Well, good job. Thank you so much. All right. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. So good to see you. Get up there. Thanks so much. What is this? Fourth grade?
We're getting it. Let's go.
I didn't say Commissioner, you're going to make still speaker.